getting out and walking our dogs. How's that looking for this morning?
Yeah, not too bad of a morning, but a little bit wet in other parts of New Mexico. Ruidoso, we had some thunderstorms and flooding yesterday. You could see that time-lapse image yesterday of the heavy rain falling, the wet roadway conditions, and the ponding on the roadways in Sierra Blanca Peak covered with clouds. This was yesterday, and a lot of the conditions have dried out since then. Thankfully, the flash flooding was not too bad yesterday around the Ruidoso complex of burn scars, and the roadway conditions have dried on out. A little bit cool this morning in Ruidoso, as well as the Truth or Consequences area. Some lightning strikes earlier. That batch of rain showers rapidly dissipating this morning. Also some showers south and east of Silver City near Hidalgo County. Drizzle near places like Grants. Elsewhere, we're cloudier to the south, clearer to the north, and we're starting off a bit humid out there, especially around the Truth or Consequences area. That rain cooled air has kind of spread on through the southern Rio Grande Valley. Meanwhile, bone dry in places like Farmington, very humid in Tucumcari and parts of the northern mountain communities, and Ruidoso were pretty humid as well. Albuquerque, not too dry nor too humid out there, but either way, plenty of moisture, not only in the upper levels, but also in the lower levels, as I just was highlighting. 72 right now in Albuquerque. Meanwhile, 65 at the TRC, 50 Alamosa, upper 30s last check in Angel Fire, 62 in Tucumcari, 73 in Carlsbad, 68 in Denman, cooler than Albuquerque, 64 in Farmington, and 53 right now in Durango. We'll be warming up this afternoon because of that high pressure system overhead, despite the moisture being trapped underneath it. That compressing, sinking air mass will allow for very warm weather before thunderstorms form in the lower 90s in Albuquerque, high 80s near 90 in Santa Fe. Mid-90s in Roswell, 70s, that is it in Ruidoso, low 80s in places like Las Vegas and Socorro in the lower 90s. You may not even reach 90 at the Truth or Consequences area, depending on how many thunderstorms form. In the 80s and 90s in the Four Corners, and lower 90s in places like Clayton. Temperatures still above normal for this time of year. Ruidoso, Capitan under a flash flood watch from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock today, with better potential of flash flooding thunderstorms, because the thunderstorms will be very slow moving. PM storm chances here in Albuquerque, and a bit gusty with a high temperature of 93, partly cloudy and very warm. I think most of the storms will start to weaken around sunset if they start to approach the metro, but around 9, 10, 11 o'clock, thunderstorms will slowly form and then blossom after lunchtime in the Sacramento Mountains, the northern mountain communities, the Gila National Forest, and even parts of the Northeast Highlands and Southeast New Mexico. Kind of a ring of fire effect of thunderstorms with a high pressure system overhead. We'll see a few isolated storms forming in the San Diaz, Corona, Encino, Vaughn, even parts of the Santa Rosa area. Ruidoso around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, our best chance of flooding in Ruidoso, and more of those storms once again near Silver City and Grants and Gallup. Leftover storms will kind of dissipate in around the Albuquerque metro and through Tucumcari. More thunderstorms. Meanwhile, in southeast New Mexico will start to clear on out. Tomorrow morning, some clouds and moisture, leftover storms around the New Mexico-Texas state line. Then more thunderstorms will blossom tomorrow afternoon. Look at that. Las Vegas, a much more likely chance of flash flooding. Ruidoso, still a decent chance of flash flooding. More of those thunderstorms along the Rio Grande Valley. It will be a bit of a wet day tomorrow, with temperatures still mostly above normal, just a tad cooler. Because of this high pressure system overhead today, upper level winds will be very light. And with that, plenty of moisture underneath that high pressure will produce, after the warming effect, more thunderstorms. But then drier weather starts to move into the Northeast Highlands, parts of the Sacramento Mountains. That's why most of the thunderstorms will be into the Rio Grande Valley, as well as in parts of the Four Corners. So Durango in the low to mid 90s ahead, lows in the 50s. We'll actually start to see more thunderstorms by the end of the week into the weekend, with lower temperatures. Alamosa in the 80s for today. Chinle, Cuba, and Farmington generally in the 90s today. Most of the storms from Cuba to Gallup to the south near Camado. And by the way, Farmington will be actually hotter before that cool down later this week. In the upper 90s tomorrow and Wednesday. Las Cruces, the Truth or Consequences area. Lordsburg, again, highs in the upper 80s, low to mid 90s. Near normal temperatures for this time of the year, with the clouds, the moisture, and the rainfall. From Cloudcroft, Ruidoso, all the way from places like Clovis to Hobbs. Temperatures ranging from the high 60s and 90s. I think most of the thunderstorms will start to dissipate toward the end of the week, especially Clayton and more in Las Vegas. A few thunderstorms today, but much more likely tomorrow, as places like Las Vegas and more, some areas maybe not getting out of the 70s tomorrow. From the North Mountains to Espanola and Santa Fe, a bit of a damp one this morning, and then we're going to see more thunderstorms for the next couple of days before we eventually heat up and dry out a little bit later this week. Moriarty, Cedar Crest, Tijeras, temperatures mostly in the upper 80s and lower 90s. Thunderstorms pretty likely today. And from the north to south valley of Albuquerque, whatever's left over in the Jemez Mountains will start to kind of creep on through this evening. But I think our best chance of rainfall will be tomorrow, barely reaching above 90. And then we'll slowly start to heat up and dry out toward the end of the week before more storms form this weekend. So a little bit of a wet one ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so get my job in the backyard done today then.
Yeah, tomorrow's not the day. I think it'll be very windy after the thunderstorms form either way.
Less than I want like leaves or little animals stuck to the paint.
Yeah, little animals.
Little critters.
Yeah, little critters, yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, little
Thinking
ants.
about that.
My leg is all spotted up from the ants yesterday.
Oh man, I got so many bug bites
bite.
too.
That's the one thing that
Nasty
just kind of got in the way,
critters.
but powered through. That's all that matters.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Ryan.